Welcome back to the Multifamily Marketers Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Grillo, co-founder here at Resident 360. And I'm also joined by my co-host, Caroline Mills. She is our Director of Digital Marketing here at Resident 360 as well. Caroline, welcome back from the break and happy 2026. How are you today?
Yes, Happy New Year. Feeling refreshed, ready to go. We've got a fun topic today, but I have a question for you.
All right, fire away.
So this week is a special week. We have your birthday coming up this week.
Oh, yes. The big 51. I can't believe it. I still feel like I'm 20.
So I was going to ask, do you have like a favorite birthday you remember? Do you have any special plans for this one? Do you have what's your ideal birthday?
I do have a favorite birthday that I remember. It was when I turned 50 last year because I got pneumonia. My entire family.
Oh my God.
My entire family flew out to kind of surprise me for my birthday, but I ended up only seeing them pretty much one day because I was so sick. My kids were sick. My wife was sick, and they pretty much had to go off on their own while I was horrible. Staying home. And then I got pneumonia, and then I lost my voice for almost 3 months, which was
oh my God.
Not a good start. Not a good start to the year, but
to
the rest
50,
of the year
I
was. The rest of the year was fine. I was super healthy the rest of the year. So as of right now, here we are recording this January 6th, and this will post tomorrow, January 7th. My birthday's January 8th. I feel great, right? So I feel really, real good.
Good.
Don't feel any illnesses or anything like that. But yeah, I do remember that one. And then I also remember my 40th birthday because there was a big surprise party for me, and I was really surprised for that one.
That's exciting.
Those are two memorable ones. So, hey, real quick, back to you. So, Christmas time happened. I know you're a big time Christmas fan. What was the favorite gift that you either got or you gave?
Ooh, okay. I'll go favorite one I gave. I really loved this. So this won't surprise you, but me and my craftiness. I know I showed you guys a couple during the meetings, but I was learning how to hand sew and hand make felt ornaments for my family. And so I got really custom with each one. Like my grandfather's a golfer, so his was golf clubs. And then my boyfriend's grandmother loves cardinals, so hers was a cardinal. And so I just got really specific for each person on things they liked. And I think that was definitely the favorite consensus. It was fun when I went to big family things. I'd have everyone open up, their little small one at the same time. And that was really fun of them trying to guess, what someone else would have gotten or just getting to see it and learn that it was just my, felt and beads that I put together. So I think that was my favorite one I gave and took a lot of time. Was definitely crunching there right before Christmas.
What? How long does it take to actually do one of those?
Between 1 to 2 hours per ornament. And I probably did about 20 of them. So it was a lot. Yeah, it took a lot of time. Some were more intricate than others. I did this one that was like a sushi roll for my stepmom, and it had 100 beads on it. Exactly. So, you're going in and out of every single bead as you go. So some of those were very, very time consuming. So
very impressive, Caroline. Very impressive. Always learning something new about you.
I know. That was my favorite one I gave. The favorite one I got is nothing crazy, but it just meant a lot to me. So I have a half sister, and she is 13, and so she's getting into the age where she's babysitting and making her own money and trying to hustle and do all these things and shop and all that. And she saved up her money to buy me this little beauty set that she had seen with this lip care products and all this stuff, but she used all of her babysitting money that she had gotten recently to buy me a gift, and that was the first one that she did for the season, and she was super proud of it. So it was really sweet just because she had to work really hard for that. It took her a lot longer to be able to save up and actually do her first round of Christmas shopping, so that was super sweet.
Awesome. All right. Well, enough of this. We will jump right into today's episode, which is New Year Smarter Marketing 2026 resolutions for multifamily. So obviously, Caroline, this time of the year, early January, everybody's got their resolutions. Yes. I'm sure marketing teams are getting together about what they're going to do differently, what they can do better. And what we did today was come up with a list. What do we got? 5 here? Five different resolutions that we think would be fantastic for any marketing team to commit to for this following year. So are you ready to jump into this, Caroline?
I'm ready. Let's jump in.
All right, this is a big one. Resolution number one, which is respond to every lead within 10 minutes during business hours. Now, talk a little about this. Is this a reality? Can this actually be done, Caroline? Because this sounds a little far-fetched within 10 minutes.
I know this sounds hard, or it sounds like, oh, there's no way I can do this. I actually meet with a team every week and we go over like knock training. We go over what we're doing with our leads and how they're getting there. It's ambitious, but I think it sets the precedence of you're really trying to set the habit of checking it constantly and doing it. That's what you're trying to create out of it. So resolutions always have to be built with habits. And so really what you want this to do for your on-site teams is just setting that habit in their mind of, okay, it's been a few minutes. I need to go in and check my knock. I need to check my entrada. So really just getting them in the habit of checking it constantly, just hitting that refresh, just having it up on one of their screens in the office, especially if you have more than one person. If you've got a leasing agent and an assistant and a community manager, or some of your larger properties, like definitely making sure you have one person who, is your salesperson and they're dedicated to answering the phone and checking your knock, checking your entrada, and just checking those leads. So, with it being 10 minutes, that would be ideal and like super fantastic, right? Like as soon as a lead submits something, they're already getting a call to schedule a tour. That would be great. But definitely the habit is to make sure that you're checking it as often as possible. It's always top of your mind and that you're just getting back to them as quickly as you can.
So 10 minutes, obviously setting a very, very ambitious goal. But the reality is what you're really trying to do is build the habit. You just want to build the habit of checking often because
exactly.
How many times do we know when we're doing any type of audits and research where a lot of times when leads aren't happening, it's nobody's answering the phone, right? Or nobody's following back up, or it takes 2 days for a follow-up to come back to somebody that filled out a scheduled tour form.
Exactly.
We know that happens pretty regularly. So set the ambitious habit of checking every day with resolution number one, responding to every lead within 10 minutes during business hours. All right, that's a big one. Let's go to number two. This one's pretty easy, right? So this one is very achievable, can be done right away. And it's just, again, setting the habit as well. Resolution number two, audit your website quarterly. Let's talk a little bit about this, Caroline.
Yeah, this is one of my, favorite things. This is one of our very first podcast episodes. We talk about digital curb appeal and auditing your website. So it's definitely something we've touched on several times. It's something that I always do as soon as I get a new client or a client who's been struggling or having issues. The first thing I'm going to do is audit the website. I mean, I want to see what's happening if I'm the prospect. We always say, put yourself in your prospect's shoes. And so it's one of those things, like you say, I would set it if I was, making this resolution. It was something new I wanted to do. Putting a calendar reminder at least once a quarter. I would suggest not the end of the quarter. Like that's usually when you're wrapping a lot of stuff up and you've got a lot of things due and a lot of different stuff, but setting it on a reoccurring basis, just set it in that calendar, put a task reminder, whatever it is that reminds you to do that. Just so it's easy for it to pass by. We get moving quickly. We're always working ahead. And then we say, oh, shoot, it's June and I haven't checked that website since I launched it in January. And so one of those things that you'll be surprised, how many times you look at a website or, my clients will look at a website and then I jump on and I say, hey, your email me button isn't working at the bottom of your website. And someone's like, what? How have we not noticed that? So just making sure you make a habit of that.
What specifically, when they're doing an audit of their website, what specifically should they be looking for?
Yeah, that's a good question because it's easy for us to just look at it and be like, well, it looks nice, it looks great. The pictures are there.
Yeah, pictures are there, content's there. Yeah. They got a form, they got a phone number. All right, website is audited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what? Like you're auditing a website. What should be, is there like a checklist they follow, or like what should they be doing? What should they be looking for?
I think you have two different ways to go about this. One is working top to bottom, literally going through each page. We've been creating some new websites designs here in house. And when I'm looking at them, I'm going from the top of the page, going all the way through, scanning each one. I'm going page by page, right? And just checking what I like about them. When you're doing this for your site, I would either say you can go top to bottom, and that is, really checking every button, making sure it's linking the right way, making sure it's working, making sure your contact does open a contact form. Not only does it open the contact form, but when you submit it, is it going somewhere? Is it getting to the right place? That seems easy to be like, well, I know I set up the integration and it's working, but a refresh happened, a server change, something happened and you didn't know it. And so just doing those things, and you can work top to bottom, or you can work like a prospect would. Like sometimes I like to do that too. Like, okay, I jump on this website, I'm a prospect. Okay, I can't find a floor plans button anywhere on the homepage. Now I'm looking in the menu. Now it's not easy to find. So there's different ways to definitely go about it. I would mix it up how you do it, just because we all look at the same websites all the time. It can be easy to kind of miss what you're doing. But one, making sure it's actually usable and clickable. And then two, making sure it looks fresh. It's easy as we move through these to make sure we're keeping our websites up to date. We've got innovative designs. We're really eye-catching compared to our competitors. We know how quickly that moves. And so, just acting like our prospect. Is it easy to use, and can I use it?
Yeah, I'm going to add to that really quickly. And keep in mind, we're in front of desktop computers all day on our laptops,
yes.
right? But your prospects, they're on mobile, right? They're going to be on mobile most of the time. So while we may be looking at a property website on desktop, that might not quite translate to what the prospect is seeing on mobile. So make sure you do both when you're auditing. Audit the desktop, but also make sure you audit it on phone. What does it look like on mobile, right? Is it easy to scroll? Do all the buttons work? How do the forms show up? How do your pop-ups show up, right? Any widgets you have there in the corner or anything like that, how they come up? Like, is it just blowing up all over the screen? How are your specials showing up? So again, doing this on a quarterly basis is ideal to make sure that, A, everything is working, B, everything looks good. It looks the way you want it to look. I mean, maybe you start looking at your site and saying, our pictures look pretty tired and we've done some upgrades on the property. We need to reshoot this. We need to get some new photos. Or maybe your copy is really thin. And that's what we see on a lot of websites these days, is just not much copy, right? And in a day and age where it's all about AI and geo and all this other stuff, you want to make sure you have lots of copy on your site, right? Add FAQ pages. So these are some of the things that you can pay attention to when you're doing a quarterly audit of your website. But I'm going to add to this just a tad bit more. And I would say, if you're doing a quarterly website audit, you may want to expand that out to all the marketing that you have out there. Look at your ILSs, make sure everything is lining up properly the way you want it to be in terms of phone numbers, forms that you actually, if somebody calls a phone number, it is the right phone, or fills out a form, it is the right email. And look at everything also for brand consistency, right? Are all your colors consistent, right? Are your floor plans consistent, right? Is it consistent over everything you're doing to market your property, even on your brochures and collateral that you have? So doing it on a quarterly basis, I think, is a great way to make sure that everything is tight and in sync with your property. All right.
I love that one.
I think we beat that one up, Caroline. Let's move to resolution number 3. Stop, set it, and forget it marketing. Now, what are we talking about here? Set it and forget it marketing. What are we setting and we forgetting?
Yeah. I think it's easy either when we have either a takeover or a problem property or whatever it may be, for us to be like, okay, let me dive into this one at this time and get this launched, get this off the ground. Okay, now I'm good. Now I got to move on to the next thing, because we just move so fast and we have so much going on. So I know it can definitely be easy to do that, but we don't want to set it and launch it and then just forget about it. We want to make sure that we're actively managing it. Just like you said, I mean, you can go and audit them, one, just making sure they're working, but not only are they physically working and are they consistent, but like, is it performing for you? Like, okay, my apartments.com listing looks great. It's got my website. It matches the photos. It's looking well. It's got all my amenities. But am I actually, getting leads from all of my ILS sources where it makes sense, whether it's Google, whether it's Apartment List, whatever it may be, checking these and making sure that we're doing regular check-ins on these too. And where are we allocating our money? Where it makes the most sense? You want to use your marketing dollars the most efficiently. And so we don't want to wait for that next time for it to come around and be a problem child again. And then we're like, oh, shoot, I meant to look into that months ago. And now I'm having to revamp and do the whole entire budget again. And so making sure that you are also auditing and checking those, one, to make sure they look nice, but two, that they're actually performing well for you.
A good point. Marketing only works when it's actively managed. Remember that. Whatever you manage, it's going to be working for you. All right, let's move into resolution number 4. Treat reviews and reputation as core marketing.
I love talking about reviews.
Well, reputation isn't a side project, is it, Caroline?
No, definitely not. Again, this is something you don't want to wait for. One, it's only going to stress you out, but it's also going to stress your teams out. Coming to your teams and saying, okay, I need you to get 25 reviews in a week. They're going to be like, okay, it's closeout. I have to collect rent. I just had a leasing agent quit. That's going to just stress everybody out. It's definitely something we've talked about in some review management and reputation podcasts we've got on here that are great resources and really dive into it. But you want this to be something that's constantly ongoing. Again, this is just setting the habit for your team. It's always great if you need to get a good push at any one time, or you've got a renovation, or you've got a new building opening to go and gather some more reviews. But you want to build this habit of just constantly getting them, constantly asking your team to make sure that they're getting however many X reviews you want a month so that it stays fresh in their mind and it's consistent. We don't want to wait till we drop to a 2.5 and our marketing's not going well. Now we're going after a bunch of reviews on top of everything else we're having to deal with. So definitely it's just that habit builder again. It feels weird when you're on site or, even if you work in a business, it feels weird doing it at first and asking people to leave you reviews. But the more often you do it, the more comfortable you get in the process of doing it, it builds that habit and it becomes a lot more natural. So using those opportunities when they present themselves on site and building that habit of doing it, then it's just something that's constantly happening and you're not worrying about. And then it's just helping you on your reputation. I'm a big reputation person when I'm searching. I am looking to move this spring and that is the first place I'll go, is looking at everybody's reviews. And I will sort them by most negative. I'll sort them by most positive. I will do all sorts of things in there. And so, it is definitely something that influences decisions now more than ever. And with AI, we're now getting AI summaries. We're getting people asking things in AI about reviews. So it's definitely not something that's dying out.
So when you look at reviews, okay, let's just talk real quick. So when you look at reviews, you're typically, if I had to guess, whatever you're looking at, you're probably looking at Google reviews, right? Is that kind of your, like for you personally?
That's usually my go-to. Yeah.
And so you obviously there's, whenever you pull up the reviews, there's what they have there, right? Now, how are you are you just looking those reviews and taking it for what it is? Or are you filtering by newest first or lowest? How are you doing? I'm just curious about order you look at reviews. Yeah.
Because if you give me your property, I will look through them all. I usually go by newest. And I'm not even kidding you. I'll go back 12 months. I will go back a year. If you have 400 reviews, I will go through 150 reviews till I reach a year because I know someone's likely been renting there for a year. So at some point in a year, someone's issue has been brought up or something good has happened. One or two, one of the two things. And so I'll typically go by newest. If I find something in there I work in the industry, so I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of you're going to have a disgruntled resident. Someone's going to move out and be charged for something they didn't like. So I take things with a grain of salt. But if I see consistently, throughout, there's one a month that's negative, I'll go up and then resort. And I'm like, no, I want to see if this is true. I want to go by all these negative ones and see if that's actually happening. And I will. And if I immediately see things that I do not want to see, in a negative review, I'm like, oh, don't care how nice it is. Don't care what they're offering. I am immediately I'm not even calling. I'm not submitting anything. Yeah. I'm not moving forward. I dig. And so do other people.
Yeah, you dig into those recurrent themes that you think, right? This is kind of interesting. So I just, when it comes to myself, so I just bought this pair of really cool, they're these pants, expedition pants, whatever, but they have zippers, right? Mm-hmm. So as soon as I wear them, the zipper breaks off and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? And then I bought a second pair and the other zipper breaks off and I was like, this has gotta be, this is insane. Cause I looked at the reviews and the reviews are whatever, 4.5 stars. So then I started going and looking into, I was like, somebody else has got to be having this problem. So I started looking at the 1 star and then the 3 star. And lo and behold, you start finding the pattern, zipper breaks. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? I didn't do enough digging. Well, I think I did. I saw it initially at first, but I was there's too many 5 stars that outweigh the 3.
Right.
Of course, it happens to me. I'm the guy that zipper breaks, and I reach out support and whatever, working through it all. So I would assume that a lot of people read reviews in the same way, right? They look for patterns, they look for themes. They go, if it's Google reviews, which I think is kind of the standard that most people pay attention to first. If it's for a property, right? They probably see what populates first. They probably go to the newest and see what's being said. If they do see some low scores on the newest, they probably go to the what is it, the lowest reviews.
Yeah.
And look and see what the themes are, and look at the recurring themes and see if those are recurring themes are actually happening in more recent reviews as well, right? And then when it's a recurring theme, it's like, yep, forget it if it's something bad, obviously.
Nope, done with that. Yeah.
And and the thing with AI these days, it's kind of funny, right? Is that AI will pull out those negative things and place those right up the top, right? So it's an interesting time we live in when it comes to reputation and reviews. You can be a restaurant out there too, right? If you're a restaurant.
Anything like that with like negative reviews in AI or people asking AI questions. I'll give you a hint or like tidbit. If you're using a review management software out there, there's quite a few, whether it's Reputation.com, Kingsley, Satisfax, whoever it is. They actually have a lot of different reports where you can choose and like pull reoccurring themes as a regional manager. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I don't know what's going on. I just took over this property. I've read the reviews for a year and they all look positive. Like what's not leasing? You can actually pull these kinds of reports and then boom, pest, your number one mentioned thing in all of your reviews. So you're like, okay, I need to look for a new pest control service at this property. So there's a lot of great tools to help you use that where you can help support your teams too. I mean, there's certain things that, I see reviews too where it's like, oh, the team is great, but it's so loud because it's next to the highway and there's no dog park. So you see that and you're like, okay, well, the team can't control that. They're doing the best they can. But this helps those regionals and those operation teams like help out, their teams and say, okay, how can I make this better for my team and for the prospects?
All right, good stuff. All right, moving on to our final resolution, number 5.
Yeah.
Strengthen collaboration. I could barely say that word. Strengthen collaboration between marketing and on-site teams. Woo.
Yes.
That is a biggie that everybody probably wishes, right?
I think you have both sides wishing for this one.
Let's dig into this one a little bit, Caroline.
Yeah, I think this is easier to tell and understand if you've been in both sides of it. Like I've been on site and I've been in the marketing for the property management side. And I totally understand how it can get siloed or you say, oh, they just don't understand. But both sides are saying that. Oh, they just don't understand. Oh, they just don't understand. I'm sending them leads, but they're not closing on them. And then the on-site team says, they're sending me unqualified leads. Nobody answers, nobody's responding to me or I have too many or whatever it is. And so it's definitely a divide and a gap that definitely has to be addressed. Whether you're out there, I would say when you're looking at your management company, making sure that that's something your marketing team does is that they either talk with your regionals or they have audits and reviews or they talk with your on-site teams, making sure that you have a marketing team or vendor who understands that. You get a lot more insight when you talk to people on site and actually understand what's going on versus, marketing team at corporate that has never been to the site. They don't know who the community manager is there. And they say, well, I see the numbers and it looks like, it's not doing well. So definitely making sure they understand. Also, the on-site team, I promise, will be more appreciative and try a lot harder if they feel like they're being heard and that the things they're saying, matter and go into their marketing. If they say, hey, I see all these people in our market running Facebook ads and people keep telling me that they're finding these other properties on Facebook. I think we should really do that. And then nothing ever gets done. They're just going to get frustrated too. So definitely listening to them. We're not always located in the market, that our property is in. So having an understanding of that and making sure it's equally communicated. You're just going to get a lot better, relationship and feedback, but your marketing is going to perform better.
How can you build that habit, right? How can you bridge that communication gap with some type of habit, right? What can you do there? What is a suggested protocol that people can kind of think about in terms of, okay, I need to be meeting with, every this time, this many times. What do you recommend?
Yeah, depending on how your marketing team is set up, if you have your own region, I would say you probably meet with the regional pretty often. But if there's some of those problem ones or ones that you're constantly hearing your regional, I like to always use the question, we would talk with our regionals and say, okay, what properties are keeping you awake at night? What ones are constantly, you're always on your mind? It may not be always what you think when you're looking at occupancy or pre-lease or whatever. Like maybe you just took over the property and it's at 100, but the regional sees all these issues that are coming up in the next 6 months. And so asking him those kinds of questions. And then, if you don't have a region and you're just a broad marketing department where you cover everything and you have a speciality or whatever it may be, making sure that somehow you are connected either to the regions or that you have, monthly seminars. We used to do like these webinar Wednesdays that would be marketing focused, where the teams would actually get on and then you have them actually replying and being in the chat with you. I would say making sure that your marketing team feels open and like your door is open and they're always open to come to at any time. So they feel like they can submit tickets, they can send emails, they can, join these webinars and ask questions. It's again, that relationship building piece. And then, either I would say quarterly, again, if you don't have a regional that you want to meet with, but monthly check-ins, checking those sites, checking your marketing numbers should just be something you're doing when you're auditing it. And I promise, like as much as you may not want to, just calling the site and having a quick 10 to 15 minute conversation with the community manager will truly make a difference and mean so much more.
Awesome. All right. So with that, we went through 5, Caroline. Now, big takeaway for everybody listening. If they were just to pick one to make a, pretty big impact for the year, right? I'm not asking everybody to do all 5, but if they were to pick one, which one would you pick, Caroline?
Oh my gosh, which one? Okay, if I was strictly marketing focused, I think I would go for the stop, set it, and forget it. I think that just leads to a lot of different ways. Like you just always want properties on top of your mind. You always want your ILSs on top of your mind. Like you are the marketing problem, right? Like they're going to come to you if they're not performing. So if I was marketing, person focused on that, I would definitely set it and forget it, just constantly checking in on those things. You'll be surprised how quickly 6 months goes by and you haven't checked on something.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's a wrap. Very first episode of 2026. We appreciate everybody listening in today. Please, if you liked it, send it on to anybody in your on-site team, friends, managers, you name it. We'd love to have support here at the podcast. And we will do it again next week. So tune in. Caroline, thank you so much. It's been fantastic. And welcome back. Welcome to 2026, everybody. And we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.